Robert, I want to look at what you've just mentioned, the stories that were given through a manifesto, through these charters that were given. And what happens to these manifestos once one gets into power? Because today we're talking about all these things that were promised through these charters that made the better agenda, right? But today no one is talking about implementing that manifesto. So is it just part of the story to get to power with zero implementation of the same? And I would further ask a follow-up question that is Parliament or members of Parliament, especially those who are aligned to the executive, afraid that if they don't speak the president's language, development would not come to them? But then again, does the executive have the power? Does the president have the power to say, like, say, in your constituency, you've brought a motion in the House and you say, I want an extra school. Does the president have power to say, no, you will not have that school or that class constructed in your constituency simply because you are not speaking the same language, especially if it has gone through Parliament? Or is it that these members of Parliament just do not know their role and the power they have, and that the president does not have the power to control development going to the constituencies?
Actually, you kind of have nailed it, hit the nail on the head. You've nailed it. The reality is that the members of Parliament have power. The House of Parliament is actually more powerful than the executive. There are three arms of government. I mean, there's a legislative arm, that's Parliament. We have the judiciary, and we've got the executive. That's the presidency and his team. If you, in strict reading of the Constitution, you realize that a lot of the power is actually vested in Parliament. In fact, including even the power of budget. Even though you're supposed to do it in consultation with Treasury, but Parliament, in terms of even by sheer fact that they must pass it, get some excess, more power than
even amend it.
Yes, they can even amend it, and for the budget to exist, members of Parliament must vote for it. So Parliament is actually more powerful, in my opinion, than the executive when it comes to certain things. But we cede this power because of personal selfish interests. Because I want to be able to get favors that will probably, more projects done in my constituency than another constituency. So basically, I would rather give that power to the executive because I am aligned to the executive. But if Parliament was to actually, put their foot down, we would do like what you see in CDF, where the money going to all the constituencies is discussed and it is shared equally across board. I'm serving my third term in Parliament, and I can tell you, when it comes to national government projects, I can only speak of two projects in more than 10 years. One road that was launched in 2017 by William Samoei Ruto, which has never been completed.
What do you mean?
One road, one tarmac road, which was launched by the then deputy president.
He was the deputy president at the time?
Yes, he was deputy president. 2017, from a place called Keno to a place called Kani in the constituency. It's not even a very long, very big, very long stretch. But that road has never been completed. In fact, the last 3 years since William Ruto became president, it kind of stalled. Before that, it was a struggle to get anything done. The people who supplied and the people who provided their services, my own constituents are constantly up in arms complaining about what is owed to them.
Pending bills.
Now that's one project. The other one is staff houses for police at the constituency headquarters in Kadhiani. Not even a big building, I think barely about 20 houses. That is it for 3 terms. But you go to certain constituencies and you find projects from one corner to the other. And so this is happening because members of Parliament, instead of taking power to themselves, and allowing that we discuss these things and be fair to each other, they would rather give the power to the executive and then allow the executive to do favors for them, so that the project that is coming to your constituency is because you are aligned. And me, because I'm not aligned and I am from the minority, if I raise my voice, you allow me to speak, I'll be hard, but I'll never have my way. That's where the problem is. I think going forward, people must understand that if you are elected, Parliament must sit and look at things in totality, not listen to what they are told by the executive, and that's where we've been failing. Because the executive says we don't want a road in a certain place, we want it done in this place, and members will just agree instead of sitting and asking ourselves, so what is a road network in Kenya? Which areas do we want roads to be done? Why? How much should we provide in this area? We will receive a budget that has been done by Treasury, by mandarins in Treasury, supported, of course, by a big team of economists that sits in State House. And then they'll come and bring it to the House as a policy statement. Changing it will be done, but very minor. Primarily, it will be followed almost to the letter. So I think that's where the problem is. And this is done even before public participation. So that means even when you do public participation, what people will say will not be taken into consideration because the president in his genius and his executive have already decided. That's where we go wrong as a country. I think going forward, the proposals you're giving of members themselves to take charge and to take authority. I'll give you an example. The other day we had this National Infrastructure Fund debate on the floor. Now, this is a proposal that you form a fund where when you sell all our assets, you put it there. You put them there. Of course, I opposed it because I first don't want even the sale of the assets. You have selling Kenya Pipeline, you're selling Safaricom, everything you're selling, you want to put the money there. But the intention is that you want to use this money in this fund to borrow again. You're borrowing outside the bracket that you talked about, the debt ceiling. Because this is not through the consolidated fund. It's a fund on the side, but with authority to borrow. So when you borrow with that fund, I think the initial intention was to raise about 4 trillion. Now, actually 5 trillion. 5 trillion. Now, 5 trillion is bigger than our national budget. Bigger than our national budget, and only for infrastructural development. So I said that we have a proposal to amend this law so that Parliament can be monitoring and checking what are the projects that you are actually undertaking using this law, so that every quarter we get a report. And it was opposed by members of the majority party. They completely opposed it. And what was shocking me is that the whip would just stand up and tell them, no, it just says X, and that's it. And I even remember saying, how can you give away power? That was the time power was the slogan. I said, look, how do you give away power? People are fighting for power. You are saying, let's give away our power. So I think we have a very rogue house, and not this one, but even the ones I've seen in the past. Kenyans now need to ask themselves, what caliber of people do you want to elect? I was telling you that there are two types of people that there are those that are intending to, they are elected. In fact, no, it's not here, but I was talking to someone, I was telling them, there are two types of people elected in the house. People that are determined to make lives better for the people that elect them. That's one group. And I can tell you it's probably about half of the house. There is another group, people that are intending to benefit themselves at a personal level. So if you elect people that are intending to benefit themselves at a personal level, how do you expect them to provide services for you?
Tough.
So people have to be careful. You must look at history of the people that are asking you for their votes and get their track record so that you can know this is the kind of person we can elect that will help us. Some of the people elected have been holding parastatal offices and have even, criminal records. We have members that are, people that have been running from one court to the other.
Some in jail.
So I mean, Kenyans have to take up this challenge.
Indeed.
Because it is Kenyans who decide what caliber of people come to the house. Now, if you're going to give your vote to the highest bidder, because somebody can come to your village and give everybody 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, if the fella disappears with all your money for the next 5 years, then you can't complain. Because after all, you've bought the vote. So it's important for our viewers to also know that there is a role that the general public also plays.
Indeed. And one of those roles, interestingly, has come out into the public